Hello there survivors, and welcome back to another build tutorial on ARK Survival Ascended. Today I'm showing you how to build my Steampunk Workshop plus storage hall in ARK Survival Ascended, designed for aberration using the new Steampunk structure skins, of course, that we got with the Bob Tall Tales DLC, as well as some of the Frontier skins that we got last time for Scorched Earth. Now, I made a first part of this build. If you only want to build the front part of this building, the workshop itself, there is a separate video for that. And if you've already built that and you now want to build the storage and add that to it, you can use the time frames at the bottom of the video to skip to the right part as well. So yeah, basically you have a choice. If you only want to use the front and the house part of this, the crazy steampunk build, you can do that. But the big storage hall, of course, comes in very handy if you need more space for all your crafting and your storage too. With that being said, if you enjoyed these build tutorials and you want to see more, of course, support me with liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe even consider becoming a YouTube member. Let's get into the build. And of course, as usual, we're going to start out with a foundation. This one's going to be quite easy. It's going to be a 6x6. So just a full-on square, quite nice and easy to begin with. And this is going to be the front of our building. So yeah, this is going to be like the main bit, the main Steampunk Workshop. And we're going to attach some cool, crazy steampunk vibes buildings to this one. So yeah, simple 6x6 square. Then the first addition that we want to make is actually here on the front. We want to go out by 2. Leave this one open at the side and then fill this in. So we're basically attaching a little 2x4 in the front, which is going to be the main entrance of the entire build. And let's start with the main entrance here as well. So first of all, we want to add a nice gate here in front, which is going to be our door. And let's actually add a gate into the gateway so we have a nice front. Then we have walls going 4 high around the entrance like this to, yeah, fill in the wall, of course. And then we want to have some roofs attached to the side like this as well, filling them in with some of the slope walls on the side, just as a little nice detail here. You want to make sure that these go down with walls on the side so that we don't see any openings. And then we want to add in some ceilings right here. Then we'll grab our quarter ceilings, or triangle ceilings actually, and we'll make a nice little pattern like this, which is going to be our little entrance. It works best if it's raised up a little bit higher, but of course that will very much depend on your landscape. But this is where we want to add in some stairs to the sides like so. And of course, depending on your landscape and the height of this might differ and you might have to add a little bit more. Then we want to add in some walls to fill in these last remaining bits. And if it allows you, you'll place down some sloped walls, of course, next to these stairs on all sides. And then we can add some pillars there as well. Again, this might be a little bit better if it's a little bit higher above the ground, as you will see in the tour at the end. And then here on top, we want to add in some nice railings all the way to kind of support this staircase. And then here as well, we'll add in some railings on this support of the building, just to add in some nice details. Of course, we're going to use the steampunk skin plenty in here. So let's take out that steampunk skin. First of all, we'll change these bottom walls that we won't see from the outside, but from the inside we will. We can, of course, also change the gate to the steampunk skin. And we're going to change the top layer here. We'll also update this side bit and the railings. Don't forget about these walls to the side. And then, of course, these stairs as well, because that's just a little bit of a nicer look. And basically just go around on all of the sides and replacing those skins to be the nice, cool steampunk ones. And of course, this floor, we want to change that as well. Then we want to add in some pillars here on the corner, just to kind of add in that little bit of extra support. And these we want to also change to the steampunk skin. And then you actually want to change them to the stone variation. And if you're able to install mods, there's now a variant cycle mod where you can just shoot things to cycle between variants. Works for all these pieces. It's a great lifesaver because it saves so much time. Okay, then here on the side, we actually want to take out our quarter walls, the stone quarter walls, and go up until the last wall. We'll do the same thing right here on this side. And then the top two can just be normal walls. Of course, we'll want to add a nice pillar in that corner again. And here in the middle, we'll add the door frame and then the tall door frames underneath it to make a nice tall window. You can take out the steampunk skins, add them here for the pillars, add them for the top layer, and add them here for this middle layer where the window is going to be. Of course, here on the other side, we're going to do the exact same thing. So we basically recreate that window once more with the nice stone pieces on the side quarter walls so that we can have the window in the middle. There we go. And of course, we'll change these skins as well, like so, and change them to the steampunk variant. And then of course the pillars, we want to change those to the stone variant. We'll add greenhouse doors to these windows to add in some nice glass. And then add ladders here on the outside. Of course, doing that on both sides of the build. And then changing them to the fancy steampunk skin so they look a little bit nicer and add a little bit of detail to the window. Okay, then we can take out some stone ceilings, attach them here to the side of these walls like so. We can actually update those skins as well to be the steampunk variant. And then we can take out our slope walls and we'll start here on the wall design. We're actually going to have slope walls there as well. Adding in some full walls right here. For now, we'll also add in full walls like this, just so that we can start this middle section with some nice slope walls. Then here, we'll continue those slope walls like so. You can remove these temporary full walls and continue the shape like this. We'll change these all to the nice steampunk skins like so. Take out a frontier skin and change these to the glass variant to have a nice little window in the middle of a wall there, which just breaks it up a little bit, adds a little bit of wood, which is nice for color variation. Take out the roofs and we'll add in rows of 3 like so, and we'll just do that for this entire bit. So 3 rows of 3. And of course, on the other side, it's going to be the exact same thing. Basically finishing this entrance. We want to place a little quarter wall here on the end. Then snap a thin pillar to that. Remove the quarter wall. Change to your stone railings. Add those on top of the roof. Like this. And then also snap them here below the edge of the roof. Just as a nice little detail for the roof. And then we can take out our steampunk lamps. And we'll switch to the desk light. And this is where you want to place it. We're not actually going to turn it on, but it's just a nice little shape on top of the roof to add a little bit more detail. Then we can take out our steampunk skins. Take them and change all these new roof pieces to create our fabulous looking steampunk roof. Don't forget about this little thin pillar. And of course, do the same thing here on the other side. There we go. And then the middle one of these roofs, we want to change to the window variant, which is another lovely addition to these skins and adds in a nice little extra detail there. So that is going to be the main entrance of the build. We'll take out our walls and then fill up this corner wall right up till where we have the ceilings of the entrance. So here as well, we'll fill it right up until there. Then here above the roof line, we're going to add in some slope walls right here, right there, and right here. And of course, we will continue the same thing on the other side as well. Okay, and then here on the side, we're going to go up by 6 in total. So like this. And of course, here on the other side, we'll do the same thing. So go up by 6 in total. Okay, here in the middle, we're going to go up by 2, like that. Then here, we're going to place down our little doorways and add the tall doorways underneath. Okay, we're going to take out 4 little quarter ceilings right over here. We'll change them to the steampunk skin. Then we'll actually change them to the glass skin like this so that we can see through. And then we'll take out our greenhouse glass. We might skin this later, but just so you know how to build this yourself, we're going to build like a little cross with greenhouse glass like this. Take out our slope walls and make this a little bit more rounded like so. Then here on the sides, we'll fill in the roofs right there, right here, and on the other side, the same thing. Then once again, we'll bring out the walls to fill in the sides of this bit. There we go. And then here on top, of course, we can just use a normal greenhouse ceiling like that. Here we'll take out our greenhouse doors whilst we're at the greenhouse factory. We'll do the windows right here, filling them in nicely. Then we can take out our slope walls and fit them in around this shape like this. And of course up here as well, like so. Then we want to have our quarter walls and fill up this area right next to it. Up until the end of the sloped wall that we've already placed down against the glass. So like this. Then we can bring out our slope walls again, have one on the corner, go up from there. Same thing here on this side. We want to go up like this. We can have 2 normal walls there in the middle still, and then, of course, finishing the roof like so. And what we actually want to do is extend this by 1 more slope wall so that it is not just a flat wall going up, but we have that little overhang to the side. Then we can take out those stone pillars and actually add them in here along the entire wall up to where it meets the top of the roof. And of course, we'll do the same exact thing here on the other side of the building like that. Then we can take out our steampunk skins once more. We can change the bottom skin here and start adding all these pillars all the way up. Well, we will change them to the stone variant in a little bit, of course. Same thing here on the other side. We'll change these, the bottom one, and then go all the way up until we reach the roof part. Then here we want to change this sloped wall, and then go up like so. So this slope wall, and then go up like this. And then the top layer here, we can all change, of course. Everything above the glass addition that we've made. There we go. Other side as well. And actually this last layer we're going to do as well. So all the quarter walls, the slope wall, right up to where basically the glass part starts is going to be the steampunk. And the rest we will keep as the normal stone. Actually, we will also update the skins here up till the ceiling that we have in place. So these ones. And then we're going to change the variants. The bottom one can be fancy. The middle one will be metals. So the middle 2 will be metal ones. We'll do that here on the other side as well. And then we'll do the middle one here to metal 2, just to make it a little less busy with all those fancy decorations. And of course, the pillars need to be the stone variant. And we actually want to grab this Klinger's Rustic custom cosmetic. You can also use this on official. And with this one, we can make the greenhouse glass look a little nicer. You could also use the Frontier skin, at least for the front of this. And yeah, I just think this looks a little better than having it normal greenhouse glass or anything else. Just a little bit fancier this way. Of course, if you do play with actual mods, you could also use ASR if you maybe want to use some stained glass instead. Okay, there we go. That is pretty much the beginning of this building, the front of the building. Okay, and then we're going to start here on the right side. We're going to actually start with the middle two, and we're going to raise this wall up by 4 in total. So like this. Then what we want to do is grab some of our quarter walls, add them here on the corners, like so. And then we can add a little doorway because we're going to have an addition here to the side. And this is so that we know where, and we already have the door in place. Then here on the corner, we can actually just go up with our normal wall all the way up until right underneath this sloped wall that we have sticking out. And then here on the other side, of course, we're going to raise up this wall to be just as high. Then we can start filling in the rest of the wall. Basically, we just want to go along and fill it all in like this. Nothing too special because we're going to be attaching a whole other build to this. These one we'll also fill in, but we'll leave 3 walls open. We're going to change to the doorways, add them to the top, and then the longer doorways we'll add underneath to create more of those tall windows that we like. And then here on this corner, of course, we can add in our nice pillar as a corner piece to add in a little bit more support. And of course, we want to change those to the steampunk skin and actually change them to the stone variation. Of course, we want to fill in these with greenhouse doors as proper windows and add some ladders to the outside for the extra details. Then we can update at least these stairs to the steampunk skin and also the windows themselves. The one above, we'll change those too. Then this whole line, we want to change to the steampunk skins. Then we can go up from the corner, go all the way across the top. This one, of course, also all the way down. And in the middle two will also update. Of course, if you leave it like this, it's a little bit busy. So we want to change some variants to the normal metal one. This one is going to be metal. So this one as well. This one can be fancy. Then the ones above it, these 6, we want to be the metal variant like that. These 4, we also just want the normal metal variant. And then, of course, the same thing here on this side. And once again, I can't recommend enough the variant cycle mod to change these skins quite quickly instead of having to interact with every single one. Then here at the side, we want to add in 2 roofs like this, of course, supporting them with some nice sloped walls on the side so that they look a little bit nicer, and then filling in the rest with some normal walls like so, basically to add some extra support to the building as a little extra detail. And we want to have some railings around the edges as well, like this, just to look a little bit nicer. And we can update this all to the steampunk skins to look even nicer. Basically the same little pattern that we did for the main entrance. And I almost forgot, but these bottom ones, we actually also want to all change to the steampunk skin. And here, of course, we want to add in a door, make it steampunk, because that's going to be the entrance to this room. And we're going to start off with this room with some quarter ceilings. I'll use wood for this. But of course, since we're skinning most of it, it doesn't really matter too much what you use. So we'll have 4 quarter ceilings right there, and then normal ceilings next to it, and then extending them to be 3 long in total, filling this all in. And this will be our little addition on the side. Then we want to have some quarter ceilings, add a little balcony on the side of this building right over here. We're going to place a doorway right here. I like to flip around these walls. Even though we're going to skin them, it is going to make a difference. And then we'll fill in this entire wall to be 3 high in total, like this. We'll do the same thing here on the other side. Fill in the walls 3 high, like so. And then, of course, the front, the sides are going to be 3 high as well. And then the middle one can actually be 4 high instead. We'll take out the normal quarter walls and then the variant above to attach to the sides of these. Then we can take out our slope walls like this and then connect them up at the top like so. Then, of course, we can take out our railing and add a nice railing for this little balcony that we've created. Then it's time to take out our pillars. We definitely want to have pillars here on the corner. We also want to have pillars next to this middle wall all the way like so. And here on the side we'll add in some pillars as well. Same thing over here like that. Then we want to add in some beams, at least around the side of the building. We'll also add them on this side. And as you can see, we can't add them on the front yet. Now, I'm not sure why, but if we add some thin pillars right here, which you won't really even see, then we can now all of a sudden add in the beams. Then it's time to take out our quarter ceilings again and connect them up to the building like this. On the other side as well. Then we'll take out our roof and of course start adding them right here. We should be able to go out to the side. And again, you might have some overlapping problems, but we shouldn't have overlapping problems in the middle. So once more, we'll go down here and we'll hide some extra thin pillars here on the side of the building. And that might get us the support that we need. For some reason, that is helping. And we won't ask any questions, but just use it to place on our roof like this. Now, unfortunately, we can't add a stone quarter wall in here. So we can't add the same detail that we did on this front. But we can still add railings on top. So we'll do that for sure to add in that little detail at least. And unfortunately, we can't add any railings underneath this either because of the support that we have. And we don't want to really add any pillars to the ground over here. So we'll keep it just like this. What we will do is add a little bit more support over here. So right here in the middle, we want to add in a nice roof like so. Add in the slope walls on the side as well. And then even add in some railings here on the side, just to support it a little bit more. Right now, the house is kind of floating to the side. So what you want to do is take out your wooden scaffolding and go from this middle block right here to the side of the building like so. And of course, we'll do the same thing right here, adding them in until we reach the wall. There we go. That looks a little bit better supported. And also it just adds a little bit extra to the look. Then we're going to take out our steampunk skin. First of all, we're going to change this little bit that we've built underneath to look a little bit nicer. Then we can change all these pillars, but we are going to keep the normal wooden variant, the default variant here. So we'll change all these pillars and beams that we've placed for this part of the build. There we go, up here. And that should look a little bit like this. We'll change in these quarter ceilings as well. On both sides, of course, like this. And then, of course, update the roof to the steampunk skins. And making sure that we've done that for both sides everywhere. And then the middle two here, we can actually change to the window variant to add a little extra shape to the roof, which is a really nice addition, of course. So small, but still breaking up the normal patterns. Then we want to take out our frontier skins. We're still on the glass skins that we've used before. These middle windows are going to be nice and tall on both sides of this little addition. And then here as well, all the way up to the top, including these using the glass variant. Then going to the normal one and filling in the rest of the wood, because this wood just looks really, really nice. And it actually goes quite well with the other steampunk skins that we've been using so far. So we want to go around and update this skin everywhere. And then here as well, changing all these ceilings to some nice frontier ones because, yeah, I just prefer the look. And let's not forget to add a door in as well, and then you might want to update that too. And you can choose whether you use a frontier door or maybe go for a steampunk door. And that is the side wall of this building completely done now. I really love the way this little addition looks, kind of just attached to the side, which already really enhances the steampunk feel of this build. Okay, now it's time to start worrying about the other side of the building. Here we want to start out by adding in the pillar to this corner as well, which we can have going up the same amount, of course. And then updating to the steampunk skin and changing it to the stone variant. Then first of all, we want to take the corner bit and just take it all the way up until where it meets the end of the pillar and where the sloped wall sticks out. And we want to do that on both of these corners of the building, right up to the top right here. Then we actually want to fill in the bottom like so, and then we can fill in these ones to be 4 high in total. We can also fill in these. We can fill in this one, leave this one open, and then switch to the windows right here and right there. There we go. So 2 windows like that. Let's also actually add in these windows like this so that we have some actual proper windows in there. Okay, and this one that we left open, we're going to place in a double doorway. It will all make sense in a little bit. We want to take out our steampunk skins and first of all change all of them here along the bottom of the build, as well as these, including the windows, and up till they end. So this one as well, all the way like this. Then these we also want to change into the steampunk skins, and once again going all the way to the top for these ones. And of course we want to add in some variations. So these ones are going to be the metal ones like that. And then this one, the first one can be fancy and the rest is going to be metal, except the top one. And on the other side, of course, we'll be doing the exact same thing like that. Okay, then we're going to take out our wooden ceilings once more. We're going to line it up with the double door that we have, and we're going to go out by 3 and then go to the side by 4. So a little 3 by 4 we're going to add here on the side. Then here we're going to start by a wall, bringing it up by 5 in total. So here as well, bringing it up by 5 in total. And then here, just the upper 2 are going to be added. On the other side, we're just going to fill in the entire wall and raise it up by 5 in total to match up with the other side. And then here on the corners on the front, we're actually going to raise it up by 6 instead. So just a little bit higher than what we did on the sides, like so. We'll take out our slope walls and we'll start adding in the shape like this. Then we want to take out our quarter wall. Now, normally you have to alternate these variants, but since we're going to be changing these to the frontier skin, it doesn't really matter. Otherwise, of course, you would have to alternate every one of these so that they don't leave those weird little gaps with the other walls. But for now, this is just a lot faster and it doesn't really matter. And then the middle ones, once again, are going to be full walls like this all the way up to here. And then above, we should be able to add in our slope walls to finish this shape in a nice way. Here on the inside, we'll add in some stairs like this. So right over here, we'll extend this ceiling through the doorway. And then we can also grab our stairs and make them go down into the hallway here. And then here we want to fill in the sides with slope walls so that we can't see underneath them. We'll take out the stone roofs and place them here underneath. And of course, add some slope walls here to the side as little supports. We'll take out our railings, also add them like this once again to add in some extra supports for this whole bit. Then it's time to start adding the pillars right here on the corner, of course. We're going to add in a pillar up until where the slope wall sticks out. So right over here. Then we can actually go to the inside and also add some pillars right over here in these corners. Just like that. And again up to this layer. And then underneath this staircase pattern, we also want to add in some pillars. Also one above, and then going all the way down, but this time the thin pillar variant. And we'll take out our railings and fill in them here on the side to make a nice little protected staircase. And this there will also give them. And then we'll change to the steampunk skin and change these skins to the steampunk variants instead to make them look a little bit nicer. These railings, of course, as well as the staircase itself. And then whilst we're at it, we might as well change this staircase too. Then these pillars we actually want to update, and we want to change them to the stone variant as well, because otherwise they're going to clip with the outside part of the wall. Then of course it's time to take out our stone beams, connect the sides up like this. Want to do the same thing here for the other side. And then the front once again won't allow us. We can actually fix this once more by hiding in some of these thin pillars here on the side. I'm not quite sure why, but it just really helps. So we'll just add in a few here just to add in the extra supports that we need, because now we can actually place them all the way across for some reason. And there we go. And then of course we want to update these skins to the steampunk variant as well, but this one we can just keep like the default variation, because I actually think that blends it quite nice for this wooden bit of the tower. And to add a little bit more support, we actually want to add in some scaffolding once more. We're going to start here right in the middle like so. And then of course we'll want to add in one here as well. And then the same thing here over to the side like that. Just to add in some more proper support for this side addition to our build. Then we're going to add something here. We're going to add a roof like this. We're going to add some slope walls to the side to kind of fill that in again. We'll take out our quarter ceilings and we'll place 4 right here like this. And then we'll take out our windows. We'll place 3 of them alongside this little structure. Then actually change to walls. Add 3 on top of them. And then some quarter walls to fill in the gap with the main structure that we've got going on. Like this. Add a ceiling on top. And then once again go around it with some quarter ceilings like this to fill in the gaps. There we go. Of course, we want to fill in the actual windows. Once again, take out our railings, add them underneath the roof bit. If you do have overlapping, you can actually add one right over here as well. If you can't, just leave them out, and then here you can also add one. And then what I like to do is add a little Tesla coil to the roof here. I don't know if this worked on official settings without overlapping, but now we can just place down the roof. If this doesn't work for you because it's not allowed to overlap, what you could do instead is just place the normal roof and then have one of the Frontier oil lamps on top to make it a little bit more pointy. I like that detail as well, but this one is just a little bit better for the steampunk builds in my opinion. And then of course we'll take out the steampunk skin and start updating this entire structure to look proper steampunky. Just only this little tower, not the main wooden bit of course. And then the finishing touch is adding a clock right over there to make a tiny little clock tower attached to this build. Then we'll pick our Frontier skin and start updating these ceilings right over here to make them look all nice. And then we can also update these walls. So this is going to all be the Frontier skin because I just like the look of that wood a little bit more. But of course, that's this personal preference. So if you do prefer the default wood more, you can of course keep that as well. It doesn't really matter too much. Although for the windows, we're definitely going to need the Frontier skin. So for now, we'll fill in all of this on the front except the middle ones, because those are going to be a nice tall window. There we go. And then here on the side, of course, we also want to change all the skins to the nice Frontier one. Then you change to the class variant and we can have a nice tall window here in the middle, including the top two, just because that looks quite nice. And what you can actually do for extra details is add some pillars along this side of this window. And then, of course, update them to the steampunk skins, because that also just adds that little extra detail and it looks quite nice too. There we go. And then here on this side, we can actually also add in a window if we want. I would do it just as a too high window. And then you have this wall still clear to maybe place some structures again, so some storage, for example. We'll take out our stone ceilings and snap them here to the slope wall up until the normal main structure, like this. And then this is where we can start our proper roof for this build. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our roof go up here by 3. And then, of course, go down by 3 here as well. And then extend it here outwards by 3 more. So we're going to have a nice roof to overlap with our building. And just filling that in on both of the sides. Now, once again, we can't have the little quarter wall on the end, but we can have our little railing. So we can at least add in that detail. And we can't add in anything underneath these roofs, so we won't do that. We can, of course, extend this up to the roof that we've now built. So we'll have some slope walls right here. And then fill in these with some nice steampunk skins. And we can actually change the entire roof to the steampunk skin now, because that looks, of course, a whole lot nicer. Blends in nicely with the rest of the structure. Don't forget about these. Update those to the steampunk variation as well, because that just looks a lot nicer. And then we're just going to go around updating all of these skins to the steampunk variant. And you might have guessed it, we're going to change the middle ones to have some windows to add some extra detail and interest here to the roof. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually take out some ramps and add them here to the end to kind of extend this a little bit more and have one overlapping with the front and back, just to add that little bit of extra shape into the build. And of course, updating them to the steampunk textures, because they are quite fancy and a nice little ending for our roof design here. Okay, then it's time to start here on the main roof. We're gonna fill in this by adding 2 ceilings here and 2 ceilings here on the other end. Then we can actually take out this roof here in the middle, because that's gonna link up together. And we'll actually have some roof corners like this instead, so that we can connect the 2 roofs nicely together. Then we can take out our roofs and start filling in this side of the roof, the main roof. And it's just going to go all the way across like this, overlapping by 1 on the end. And just filling this all the way in like this. So nothing too fancy, nothing too special. Just a nice normal roof. And then, of course, on top, we want to add in our railing to add in some detail here. There we go. Then we can take out our steampunk skins and start updating this side, so that we can get the proper look going on here. Okay, and then we can add in some windows here in the middle, just above where the addition is. Leave a gap of 1, add another window, and do the same thing here on the other side, just to add in a few details to the side of this roof. Now we actually want to add in some extra details. If you don't have overlapping, you might have to take away the railing for this for a little bit. But right here on the end, we want to add in our quarter walls, so we can snap a thin pillar to it. And then we can take away the quarter walls and have just the railing there. There we go. We also want to have railings underneath the side of the roof. Like this. And the same thing here, of course, on the other side. There we go. And we'll take out the desk light again and place them on top of these thin pillars. Just as a nice extra little detail. There we go. We'll do it on both sides. And that's just to add an extra little detail to the roof. Then here on this side, of course, we want to start filling in our ceilings as well. We can go all the way alongside the wall like this. And then we can start filling in the roof. For the first layer, we just want to fill it in all the way across like so. Then here the outside, we can fill in up to the middle. We can do the same thing here on the other side. Fill that in. And we can actually also just fill in the middle too. And then the top two on the sides that we've left open for now. There we go. We can take out our corners. Add a little addition like this and like that. And then stick them out by one more normal roof to really make them stand out a little bit more. We'll have the little quarter wall on top, the end of each one. Snap a thin pillar to it. Remove the quarter wall once more. And then change to the railings on top. Like so and like so. And underneath these bits as well. Like this and like that. Then in here, of course, we want to have some nice sloped walls. And we want to change those to the frontier glass skin so that they are little windows in the roof. And of course, add the little desk light on top of these pillars that we've added. There we go. Nice little details. Then we can take out our steampunk skins and we can start updating this entire structure to look a little bit more steampunky. So we're just going to go alongside the entire roof now and update all of these skins to make them look a little bit nicer. And then here we can, of course, add in some more windows. We're just going to do the middle two here on this side. And there we go. A nice little side of the roof. Then it's time to add a few extra little details. First off, some extra scaffolding supports to support these roof shapes. There we go. We're going to do them here on the sides. And then after two, we're going to add one more. Just to add a little bit more support to the whole side of the roof. We're going to do that here on this side. Here, of course, we can only add them here at the ending, of course, because we already have the roof integrated into the main structure here. There we go. Here on these sides, we also want to make sure we do this. So we're going to have some nice support here on the end as well. Here on the front, we're going to do the same thing. Add some nice support like this. Here as well. And we almost forgot this, but we want to add some more supports here on this side like we did on the other side as well. So just some roofs with some sloped walls next to them, of course, and then connecting up the walls all the way down into the ground just to kind of complete the look and support the whole building. And then we'll have some railings on top like that, of course. Do that for both. And then update the skins to the steampunk variants. There we go. Like this. Same thing here for this side. Just to add that little bit of extra shape and details to the build. We've just added the scaffolding, but this skin from the Klinger's Rustic Custom Cosmetics, we also use this for the nice glass window at the top of the build. This actually looks really, really nice because it has that little curve going on, which adds some extra shape to the build that otherwise we can't. So where we've placed the scaffolding, and I mean everywhere, we kind of want to update those to these custom cosmetics because they look amazing and they really add an extra little bit of shape because of the curve that we normally do not have in ARK, and that is why I absolutely adore them, because look how much cooler that looks. It fits the steampunk vibe, it blends in very well with the other skins that we've used, so it actually is a quite nice addition, improvement in my mind. So I would definitely recommend grabbing this, and you can, as I said before, use this on official as well. So why not? Because it's going to make your build look so much better. And there we go. We'll follow this shape all the way around and add in that little new shape to it, because it really changes up the shapes for these. And I've actually also just noticed that I need to update these to the steampunk skins as well, because those look much nicer and fancier underneath. So we definitely want to have that going on instead. There we go. So that's some nice added details. Then, of course, these insides and these floors we can also update to the steampunk skin. So we'll just go around the entire floor updating those, because we definitely want those fancy floors in here to really make this workshop look as nice as it could. And then, of course, we want to add in the floor here as well. So this is going to be the floor. We can add in some railings here to the side, and then pretty much just follow the shape of the building to fill it all in. And that should line up with the door of the little room that we made on this other side. And we can just go around, fill in the rest of this, and then you'll have a pretty spacious room over here. There we go. So we got this little room on the side, the little clock tower, of course, this main room, this smaller room to the side, and then, of course, the downstairs, which is also a pretty big hall. And then technically you could still add another layer, because there's definitely enough room. You could probably add another floor on this level. However, if you don't need that, I would just keep a nice tall room instead. And what we're going to do then is just add another layer of walls on top of here to make it look a little bit nicer from the inside. And then here we're actually adding in some sloped walls just to finish this wall section off. There we go. Change it all to the steampunk skins, and here we're gonna do the exact same thing. So far we've been focused on the workshop here at the front, and now you could totally just finish off this back, probably do the same thing as we did on the front, and have a beautiful workshop, a beautiful steampunk house to live in. But if you do want more space, this is where we're going to be adding the storage hall at the back to give you plenty of space for everything you'll ever collect and store inside, and just make this into a proper base, like a very big base where you can have everything you need. And of course we'll need some more foundations for that, so we're gonna grab our foundations right here. Now it's very unlikely that you'll find a spot that's flat enough for the entire big building all the way through, so what we might get is like we have right here. We can't actually have the foundations on the same level. It doesn't really matter. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we have the foundation support, and then we're just gonna layer ceilings above it. So for this part of the building, we want to make it 8 wide, so it's 1 wider on both sides than the building that we've made so far. So you want to make sure that your foundations go all the way through like this, and then the sides are going to be 14 long. So we're going to go out by 14 in total. So there we go, that is 14 in total. Now, I might run into a little bit of problems here, which I didn't really anticipate. I guess I didn't leave myself enough space back here. But then we can bring this across once more. Remember, this was 8 wide in total like this, so that should line up. And then, of course, we can connect this part as well with our foundations as far as we can go. And again, it's probably not going to be the same height. It doesn't really matter. You just want to make sure that you've got foundation support everywhere. And if you don't know, Foundation support goes out by 3, so you can actually leave some gaps if you want to save some materials. Of course, if you do have a flat enough spot, you can just have foundations as your floor. But if you do know that you need to add more floors above it anyway, you might as well save on some of the foundations. So this whole shape should now have foundation support. But if you're unsure if everything will have, what I like to do just in case is also have something here in the middle so that we really know for sure that we're gonna get the proper support everywhere. Because sometimes ARK is a little bit crazy, a little bit weird, but it should in theory have foundation support everywhere right now. And as I said, we want to make sure, of course, that these floors are on the same level. So we want to add in ceilings connected to this main hall layer and just go all the way up until the end of our foundations, making sure that we do in fact have that going on, because that is going to be our actual storage hall, and all the extra space that you have underneath, depending on how high or how much it is, you could of course use as a little bit of an extra basement, hide some stuff in there if you do even need more space than we're already gonna get. But for now, we'll just start filling this entire floor with the ceilings so that we do have our entire storage area covered with a nice floor area to work with and to work from, because that's of course going to be the start for the entire storage hall that we'll be building. Now here at the back we want to continue this shape, and I do dearly hope that the landscaping here is not going to interfere too much with my tutorial. But what you want to do is basically, this is the outside, that's what we're going to count. We want to go out by 4 of those, so this is 3 and this would be 4. It's a little bit funky because of the landscaping, but it should work nonetheless. And of course, on the other side, we're going to do exactly the same thing. So that's 3, and that would be 4 right there. And then we should be able to connect these, and that should also give us 4 of those on the outside once more. And just as we did for the rest of the building, we want to make sure that we have the ceilings on the right layer connecting this all together. And in my case, it's going to be a little bit annoying with the landscape, but yeah, just make sure you have enough space. As you can see, sometimes builds can be a little bit even bigger than you might anticipate at the start, but I guess we can kind of make it work up to here. This hill is just a little bit higher than I anticipated. For the rest, it seems to be working just fine. But yeah, you want to just fill in this last piece of the shape with these triangle ceilings, and this will create a little bit more of a like rounded back of our hall, which is just a nice way to add in a little bit of a different shape than just having a massive big square at the back of your building. Now, we're not quite done yet with the foundations. We're going to go to this side. We're going to count, and we're going to go in by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, that's where we're going to place 2 of those foundations, and we should be able to go out by 4 in total. And then you should still have 5 of the normal foundations left on the other side as well. We're also going to be filling in or ceilings like this, because that is going to be another entrance, so that you have a direct entrance to your storage hall. Of course, if it better suits you, probably in my case right now, this side would be better suited. You can also have the entrance at that side, just whatever makes the most amount of sense for your build. But just for tutorial purposes, we're going to use it here because that's the way I originally had it designed as well. And we're actually going to start with this side entrance, because this might be familiar. It's going to be the same entrance as we had on the workshop area. So for now, we're going to at least make a staircase down from our main entrance that we're going to have right here. We'll take out our gateway. We place it right here in the middle. Of course, add the actual gate to it as well. Then we can have our walls going up by 4 and above the gateway too. And then just, of course, doing the same on the other side. We'll take out our roofs and we'll add them here to the wall like so, as a little bit of support and decorations. And then, of course, we're going to be adding these slope walls to the side so that we can have the support go all the way down into the ground. And that is how we're going to detail these parts. Make sure we go all the way down. Let's not leave any unwanted gaps anywhere. And then depending on how far the staircase goes, of course, you want to add railings to the side here and potentially also some slope walls so that you have the staircase completely closed off from the sides as well. We'll add in some pillars here on the corner. Of course, make sure they go down all the way to the ground too. And we'll do the same thing on the other side here. And then here on these corners, of course, and making sure they go up about the same height as we have the other ones. Then here in this wall, we're going to have quarter walls going up until these last top ones. Doing the same thing here on the other side of the wall, of course. And doing the exact same thing here on the other side of this build. There we go. Going up with these quarter walls all the way like this, except the top ones. Those are going to be normal walls on both sides like this. Then we'll have the doorways right underneath that one, and then the tall doorways going down from there. So as we create our custom big tall windows, we'll take out our greenhouse doors as our window glass and we'll put them in on both sides. Grab our stairs or ladders and add them here on the outside as a little bit of extra detail. Of course, doing that again on both of the sides. There we go. And then it's time to start here on the front of the building. We'll add some of these slope walls in like this. We'll have normal walls here and we'll have a temporary wall right there. And a normal wall right here as well. And then we can take out those slope walls. We'll add to the side of this building like this. We'll start our shape right here. And we'll take this up all the way and across like so. Then we can take out these two temporary walls. Continue the shape back down like so. And adding one more slope wall in the middle to create this kind of shape. We'll take out the frontier glass skin and we'll make these middle ones a nice little round window. And then we can take out the steampunk skins. First of all, we're going to change all these pillars. And of course, we will want to change these to the stone variant instead of the default one, just because that looks a little bit nicer. And of course, it's going to blend in with the other ones that we've used so far. And then we're going to change some more of these skins to the steampunk variant. First of all, we're going to change these ladders as well as the windows themselves, the top layer here. And on the other side, of course, we can do the same thing, changing all these skins to look a little bit nicer like that. Then here on the front, we actually want to make sure that this bottom layer is changed to the fancy skin, as well as the gate itself, of course. And then before we change the rest here on the front, we actually want to add in some more railings alongside these supports as some extra details like so. And then we can change them to the steampunk skins here. These full supports can be the steampunk variation like that. The same thing here, of course, on the other side, changing all of this to the nice steampunk skins. Then the staircase here, we want to change that as well, like so. And then here, the top layer, we're going to change. And then everything except, of course, the window that we already made in the middle is going to change to the steampunk skin. And then we can do these middle ones and change them to the metal variant so that it looks a little less busy over there. And then we can add in our stone ceilings here attached to this slope wall going in up to where the other wall of the main part of the building is going to be. And also make sure to change the skins of these ceilings to the nice steampunk variant instead. Okay, then for these side walls, we're going to create some big windows like this. Now, there's multiple ways that you can do this. Either you can just use the frontier glass skin. That's what we'll be doing for this tutorial. They look quite nice, of course. And if you already are building something in the steampunk skin, you should have this as well. Of course, you could also pick other window skins if you have different custom cosmetics that you like the look of. And if you have proper mods, there's of course an array of cool windows like the ASR windows that can even have some stained glass instead. But for this tutorial again, we'll just stick to this. Now the next step, I'm not entirely sure if you can do this on official, otherwise you can just leave it like this and have pillars around the windows instead. But what I like to do is place a gateway like this, and then we'll do that here as well, just to kind of have a nice little border around a window. On the opposite side of the building, we're gonna do the exact same thing, so we'll have some nice big windows there as well. And if you want to add some extra details to it, what you could do, you could just add the gateway into this. And of course, what you then could do is open them up so that it looks like you've got giant shutters in there. Make sure that you set up the gateway in the right way so that they open up to the right side always, and then you have a little bit of extra 3D effect to your windows. But again, this is optional, you don't have to do this. I would then of course change these to the steampunk skin so that they look very fitting for this setting. So here on the other side, let's quickly also fill in these windows that we've made so that we have all of them nicely in place. Changing the skins to the steampunk one for the gate, and to the frontier glass or other glass, whatever you're using in the middle of that. Okay, then it's time to start adding in some more pillars. First of all, here on the corner, we're going to add a pillar, and from the ceiling level, your ground level, we want to raise those up by 4 in total. Now here in the middle, we should already have them, of course. And then here on the end of the straight line, we're also going to add a pillar of 4, but of course on the outside, making sure it goes down into the ground as a proper support pillar. We'll do that on the other side of the building as well, making sure that we have those nice supports lining up with all sides. Here we'll do the same thing, of course, again raising it 4 up from the normal platform level. Then over here we're going to actually add in 2 of them like so, and 2 of them right there as well. Once again, making sure they go all the way down into the ground on the outside, and of course all the way up 4 high from the ceiling onwards. And we'll do that for all of these like so. And then here on this side, we actually also want to add one here on the corner. Go up by 4 once more. And of course, making sure it goes down into the ground. Here on the other corner, even though it's a little bit harder to see for me, we're still going to add another pillar there as well. And then we're going to take out our steampunk skins and of course skin all of these to the steampunk variant. Now most of these we're going to all update to the stone variant. Just the ones at the rounded bit at the back we're going to do slightly differently. So for now, change everything to the frontier skin, and on the main bit of the storage hall you can change them all to stone, but here around this corner, these 2 at the end, we'll wait for those a little bit and I'll show you what to do with those. Okay, here on the end of the building, we can keep most of it as the default appearance, but only this one or everything underneath the ceiling level, we want to change to the stone variant. Now again, this will depend on your landscaping, of course, how much you will need to change. But yeah, everything else above the ceiling level will keep as the default one. Okay, then it's time to actually fill in everything below the ceiling level to make it look good. So what you want to do is take out your walls and just fill everything up until either all the way to the bottom or, of course, till you meet your foundations. It kind of depends. In a situation like this where we don't have the foundations going all the way through, I probably would still have the wall sticking out over it. But here where we do have those foundations, it could be nice to see them because of course they'll have different textures. So yeah, we want to go all the way around the base and fill in everything below the ceiling level so that we're not looking into the ugly insides of our building. And now this might depend, of course, on your exact landscape, how much or how little you will need to add. But yeah, we want to have everything below the ceiling level be closed off from the outside like this, just to make it look a little bit neater in general. And yeah, shouldn't be too hard. Hopefully you don't have to place too many things. And then of course we'll take out our steampunk skins and we'll start skinning the outside. So either it's going to be the walls or it's going to be the foundation showing up for some nice variation in this. And make sure to get all of the visible skins so that we have a nice steampunk look for all of these out there. Now, once we've placed down all the skins, we want to make sure in areas like these where you have multiple walls that you change the lower variants to the normal metal skin so that it's a little bit less busy on the outside here. Of course, if you have the foundations below it, you don't have to change anything. It's just where you have more than one wall. We'll keep the upper layer the nice fancy skin, and we'll change the other one to the metal variant. So it just looks a little bit nicer and cleaner and a little bit less chaotic and busy all over the place with those same very detailed textures everywhere. But again, if you have the foundations, we don't need to change anything. Then we're going to start on some more windows here. So these are all going to be giant windows on this end bit. So we're going to change them to the frontier skin. Once again, same as with the other big window, the windows that we've made so far. You can use any other window custom cosmetics that you might have and want to use. Or if you have proper mods like ASR or anything else that you like the windows of a little bit more, you can use those instead as well. You could even go for greenhouse glass, although of course it's quite hard to see out of those. So once we've placed them in, we're just going to change all of this to the glass skin, so that we have some nice big windows to enjoy the view outside of our base of, which is always something that I like to add, because one, it just means you can actually appreciate where you've built your base, and hopefully that is a cool location. And also it just gives you a lot of natural light coming in, which helps you being able to see inside of your base too. Now, once we've done that, we can actually start on the walls here on this side. For now, we're just going to have the stone walls go all the way around and filling in all of the wall that we can see. So right like this on this side. And of course, the other side is going to be pretty much the exact same thing. So we'll fill all of this in like so. And of course, right here, we'll also have to fill in this wall. Now, if you previously placed this, we can remove this for now, because of course we don't need the overlap now anymore. And we can just go up to the top of the pillar there. That should fix the walls on this side. We of course want to take out our skins. We're going to have the skin going along the top like this, and also here on the side. And we're going to do the same thing here. So this way all the way up, and then along the top of this side of the wall too. We can pick our variants again, changing these to the metal ones to make it a little bit less busy, because otherwise it's just a lot of repetition of that fancy ornament, which means it kind of loses its look. And then here on this side, actually, we also want to add the skins all the way to the top. And once again, changing the middle ones to the normal metal variant, meaning that this side is already starting to look quite nice. And actually here on the end, we want to raise it by one more. And then on the other side, we can do the same thing again. We can remove these pieces for now, because we can have a proper wall there for the storage, making it one higher again than the actual pillar. We'll change this all to the nice steampunk skin too. And then we can start filling in some of the other walls here. So this one, we're going to fill in all the way, making it go around the gate here as well. Then this middle part will just fill in like this too. And then this part around the gate, we can also just fill in with normal walls like so. Nothing too crazy. Here on this side, we're going to do something slightly different. We can fill in the top one like so, and the bottom two as well. And then here we want to add in a nice little window. Of course, adding in the actual windows as well. Now we can take out our steampunk skin, change all these to the steampunk variant once more. The top layer we can continue all the way through to the end, and then making it go down there. This layer we also want to update the windows and everything below it, so that we have a nice little border going down like so, breaking up the wall a little bit more. Of course, we're going to be updating variants. So again, here we just want to have the bottom and top one being the normal variant and the other one's metal. Same thing for over here, just to make it a little bit less busy. We'll change the middle ones to the metal variant. The top ones, of course, can keep being the fancy variant, just to break up the pattern a little bit. So it should end up looking like this. Then what we want to do is take out our sloped walls and add them in like so, connecting up to the middle part here. We'll do the same thing here on the other side. We can, of course, update these skins to the steampunk variant. And then we can add in our ceilings. So we'll go in like this. And we'll continue like this over here too. And here on this side, of course, we can go all the way across with our ceiling, all the way up to the end of this wall. Now, where it goes around the corner, we want to take out our triangle ceilings instead and still keep going this little edge, this little ledge around the build, just following the shape that we've made before, all the way until we reach the other side, which should meet up with the other line of ceilings we have made before. And of course, we'll update all of these to the nice steampunk textures all the way around so that they all look nice and fancy. And this is all just so that we make sure that we have a roof that overlaps the sides by one, which just looks a little bit nicer in my opinion. Of course, then we can take out our scaffolding and add it here on the end, as well as here on the ends, of course, of this side entrance that we've made. We want to do the same thing here in the middle of where we have the window. We're adding one more. Same thing here on this side. Then here before it goes diagonal. Then where it goes diagonal, we can have two here on the corners sticking out like so. And then, of course, here we're going to repeat the same pattern of supporting beams. Then here we can find the middle of this too wide wall. We'll have another support, another one here, and then of course here at the end once more. And just as we did for the workshop portion, I would prefer changing all of these to the Klinger Custom Cosmetic. So we'll take out this one, place it on our skins once more, and update these scaffoldings to look like the nice Klinger one. I prefer this look, of course. The scaffolding itself is totally fine to use, but I just like adding these curves to the build because it breaks up the very straightforward structures that we usually have in the game. So yeah, I do really prefer and would recommend using this look instead. Okay, then it's time to get started with the roof. So we're going to add one right here and two right here as an overlap on the outside. Then we're just going to be following the shape of the building like so. Of course, adding in the corners as well. And we can follow up with the outside of this building. For now, we're just gonna start with the outlines because this is a big roof and we want to make sure that we add some extra details in besides just having the plain roof go all the way around. So we'll do it up to the end right here. Then let's also do the other side, which of course is going to be a little bit easier. The same part here to get started with, and then just going all the way across with our normal roof pieces all the way up until we get to this part. This is where we change to the triangle roofs, and we can still continue this first layer of the roof going on, following the shape of the building. And this really will help to break up the big roof shape and add a little bit of a curve to the end of it, which of course is a really nice way to create some interest and a little bit of a different shape for the building. Now, above the big windows that we made in the wall right here, we want to make sure that we add in two slope walls like so. We're going to do the same thing here on this side. The exact same thing we are going to do right here on this side as well. Then we'll do one more right here. And then here in the middle, we actually want to add another one because we do not have the entrance, but we have this instead. If you've chosen to build the entrance on this side instead of the other side, of course, this would be switched around. And you could technically also just choose to build entrances on both sides, but then you will miss out on a wall that you can place a lot of storage against, of course. Now what we want to do is we want to have some normal roof pieces here sticking out as an overhang on the outside of these sloped walls. And we're going to do that for all 5 of the little additions that we've just created. So like this. Then of course taking out our corners to make the corners to blend in back to the normal roof like this. And we'll do that for all of them so that we can then afterwards easily connect the roof back up to each other. So like this. But this little addition will just break up the whole roof shape and the roof feeling. We'll also add the Frontier glass skin to them so they actually turn into small little windows, giving us a little bit of extra light into the base. Okay, then we're going to finish this part of the roof as well. So we'll add 2 more of them right here and 3 more of them right here on this level. So like this, before adding in the corners of the roof like so. There we go. Then we're going to take out our quarter walls. We're going to add one on all of the ends here of the roofs. Like this, and like this, like this, like this, and like that. There we go. Then we're going to snap a thin pillar to the ends of all of these to add a little bit of extra detail to our build. Like so. Then we can take away the little quarter wall and place our desk light on top of the little thin pillar that we've placed. And we'll do that for all of these that we've just created. Again, it's just a nice little detail, a little round shape, which we do not have a lot of in ARK. So I wouldn't even turn on these lights. It's really purely just for the shape to add on the end of the roofs like this. Then we can take out our railings and make them go around the top. Here it's just going to be 2 of them for all of these parts. Here as well. Same thing over here, of course. And here on the big one, of course, it's going to be a few more. But basically just up to the end where we've made the corners. And then the last one here will do the same thing. And then here on the inside, you can actually snap some railings like this. It's going to be a few more, of course, for the big entrance, but it does add a little bit of nice details to all of these. So we're going to go around and do the same thing for all of them. And then we can have the nice details of our roof all the way complete. Alright, then it's time to fill in the rest of the roof so we can make the roof go all the way up and meet together from both sides like this. That's of course going to be the ending of the normal part, and then we'll start filling in all of these missing roof pieces like this. So it is quite a big roof, of course. You'll have plenty of room on the inside. Now I personally am only using 1 floor in this, but there is definitely the potential that if you do need more space, you can extend this to have the whole 2nd floor of this just go all the way, continue into this big storage hall. So there is a potential for a vast amount of space inside of this build should you need it. So yeah, for now we'll just continue filling in these roof pieces like so. There we go. It should all neatly connect up and yeah, turn this build into something quite spectacular. It is a big build, it is a big base, but this is pretty much all you need. You can even bring in, of course, dinos inside as long as they fit through the normal dino gate, which is quite convenient. For example, if you've gathered a lot of stuff, you can just bring them inside and instantly put it into your storage system, which is great, of course. There we go. That should be the roof right now. But then, of course, we still have this part of the roof to do. Now, for this side, we're just going to go up with these triangles until we meet the main part of the roof. So nothing too crazy there. We do want to keep the middle open, however, so that we keep this shape open right there. Then we're going to do something similar here for the other 2 sides. So once again, middle we're going to leave open so that we create that same kind of diamond shape in there. And the rest of the roof we're just going to fill in like so. And then on this side, we'll repeat that pattern once more, keeping that little diamond shape open in the middle of the roof, because we're gonna add a little window there as well, just to break up the pattern and break up this big roof shape that would otherwise be quite bland and boring. So this part, we can take out our railings once more and surround this shape with a nice little railing to kind of add some extra details to the spot as well, like so. And then we can take out our triangle greenhouse roof and add them in to the gap here to, yeah, basically have that nice window going on in there. And yeah, letting in some more light into your building like this. Then here in the middle of the building, we want to add in 4 ceilings on the top, like so. Then we're going to take our stone railings and continue them on over the top till the end right there. And on the other side of these ceilings, we're going to do the same thing, bringing in the railing up until the point where the roof ends for now. Then we'll take out our pillars and add 4 of them here on the corner of this new structure that we're working on. And we can update those pillars to the frontier skin and change them all to the stone variant. Then we can update the skins of these ceilings as well as these 2 roofs underneath and on the other side as well, so that we don't forget about those. Then we can add in some of the slope walls here on the side to close off this new little addition that we're working on, and then 2 normal walls here on the ends of it, the sides of it, just to connect back up to the roof. And also these we can update to be of the steampunk skins, so they look a little bit nicer. Then we can take out our railings and continue the railing around the shape that we've just made. There's no real way up to this part, unless of course you use like a glider or anything, or a Cosmo to get up to your roof. You could actually add like a spotlight or something up here, but it's mostly just to add that one extra little detail to the roof and break it up a little bit more. So on top, we're going to add 4 more pillars on every corner, then switching to the thin pillar, adding 1 more above of that. Then we'll bring out more ceilings like this, but also actually add another layer of ceilings all the way around this building. And then we'll update some more of these skins to the steampunk variant to make them look a little bit nicer, especially of course the bottom for these. And of course also these pillars as well as the railings. We want to update those now too, like so, just to get the look in the place. Then we'll add a little roof to this, so we'll start with normal roof pieces in the middle of all of these sides like so, before adding in the corners of this build, because we're basically making a little tower up here. Now you can just fill in the tower like this, but once again we can add a little bit more detail to it. If we take out our quarter ceilings, we can make a little edge around this place like so, and then we can have a normal ceiling right there in the middle. Now again, I don't really know if you can do this on official because it is kind of overlapping, but then you can just leave it out and place a steampunk, no, not the steampunk one, the oil lamp post from the frontier pack on top instead to make the tower a little bit more pointy. But if you have the Tesla coil in here, and as soon as you have some power on here, generator here, you can power them. They will extend a little bit more and really stick out nicely from your roof of the tower. Speaking of that roof, we want to update these skins all the way around now too. And we can actually go and change and update all of the roof skins now, including all of the railings that we've placed, these thin pillars as well, just updating all of these skins that we haven't touched so far to transform this roof into the good looking steampunk roof that it deserves to be. So let's go around the whole build and do that, and then I'll see you back in a little bit for me, and well, in one cut for you, I suppose. Okay, after changing all the skins, there's a few more additions that I would make. I would probably update some of these to have the windows in them. Of course, feel free to change more to windows if you prefer, but at least these 6 on this side and then the same ones on the other side, I would change to have these windows in them. So basically skipping a gap each time, and then here in the middle we're skipping 2 gaps just to add, once again, a little bit more variation in there to break up the roof that little bit more. I'm really happy that we now have these variations for roofs. Okay, we're pretty much done now with the building, but of course there is some more work to be done here on the inside. First of all, we're going to add an extra wall here to this side of the building. We want to make sure that the stone textures are facing the storage hall like this. There we go. We'll go up at least as long as we need to kind of stick out above the roof here on the outside. Then what we also want to do, as I said before, you can definitely just make a full floor of this layer if you need more space. But if you don't need that, we probably want to change these into some triangles. So you have a nice little balcony looking out into your storage room from your crafting workshop area. And then we want to have a little railing, of course, all the way around it. And of course, I didn't update those skins yet, but you will want to update all those skins and of course also update the railings themselves, as well as adding a pillar here to the side of this extra wall that we've just introduced. So we want to make sure that we have a pillar going all the way up like so. All right, then we'll have some sloped walls, of course, here on these parts of the roof so that we can start making the wall part of this build, and we'll fill in these all the way up until there. Same thing here on the other side. We want to make sure that we continue this wall all the way up until that height. This middle part we can also fill up until we can't go any further, and we'll be adding in a bunch more of the slope walls like so to create our roof part of the building. Then we'll have some doorways right there, then the longer doorways underneath, 2 of them, and then one more normal wall underneath that to kind of break up this whole wall like this. And then here we want to bring up this part of the pillar all the way up to the roof, and then the same thing here on the other side, because don't forget, below this roof there's a pillar right there. So to make it look more natural from the inside, we want to continue that pillar. And then of course we'll start with updating the skins for the pillar, and we want to go to the stone variants for all of these. Then of course we'll add in the greenhouse doors as windows, have the ladders on the outside as an extra detail once more, and then we can start updating the skins, starting with these ladders to make them a little bit more fancy. Then we can go across and start updating everything from this layer up. So like this, we'll go and change this all to the steampunk skin to make it look nice and fancy like this. But of course we're going to change some of these to the normal metal variant to make it a little bit less busy, being this one. So here the bottom one we can keep fancy, and the top one too. And on here on the corner we actually want to make sure that we continue going down with the skin as well, but we do want to make sure that this is the variant, that we have the fancy one, and these ones are going to be the normal metal once more, just to make it a little bit less busy again. And that should be the end here on the outside at least. Of course we do need to still fix some things here on the inside right over here. First of all, we want to start with updating the skins of these pillars going all the way up until there, because the other ones above, of course, we already updated. And then these bottom ones we want to change to the stone variant. The other ones you can also update, but for now at least I would keep them like this. And then these ones over here we want to change to the steampunk skin as well. And of course we want to change then the one above the bottom layer to the metal variant. And personally, as you can see, it's already starting to clip. So these pillars that are next to a steampunk skin, I would change back to the stone as well, just because they don't interact nicely for some way. Now we have this giant storage hall to work with, and of course there's many things that you could do in here. First of all, there's some finishing touches. I would flip the wall around and add one more layer like this to kind of close off that little bit of empty space that we have. Of course, if you build another floor up here, I personally would still just close this off just because it looks a little bit cleaner, but it's up to you after all. But yeah, I would go around all the way like this and place in some extra walls. Then we're going to change them to the fancy steampunk skin to have that nice little edge at the top of our walls here on the inside, which I personally do think looks quite nice, breaking up the wallpaper skin that we have on the inside of most of this and just giving us a little bit more of that fancy stone and metal coming back here on the inside too. So we'll do that for all of these just to kind of, yeah, clear out those empty spaces that look a little bit weird. And then what I also like to do is adding in some pillars. So what I would do every other two, so we have a gap of 2, a gap of 2, a gap of 2, gap of 2. That's what we're going to do until we right here at the end of the normal hall. Here on the other side, we can do the same thing going all the way across the hall, adding in these pillars, and then I would go up with these pillars all the way to the roof as some extra supports, especially if, like me, you're not building a second floor. This can really help elevating it to another level and making it look like a proper big hall that you're working with. So I would definitely at least add in these. Now, what I also did in my hall, which I'll show you in the tour afterwards, is adding some more random pillars around, like looking like pipe systems, basically, like it was a big factory hall. But that is totally optional because it is a little bit annoying to do, especially in survival, of course. So I won't bore you with that in this video now. But these pillars, I think, serve a purpose. They make it look like this structure is actually being properly supported, as well as just kind of creating a guideline and some detail for your building. Now, alternatively, if you maybe don't necessarily want to fill in this entire floor with a second layer, but you want some, what you could also do is, of course, just have walkways here on the side so you can still look down everywhere and you have some extra space along the side of the building. Unfortunately, of course, that would mean some overlapping or just having one more normal layer of ceilings before you go into the rounded balcony like this. That is another option that you could do if you kind of want to use all this space to walk on and maybe have some extra storage around and keep the middle open all the way to the top, because I personally think that's quite a nice look. Then these pillars, of course, we're gonna all update. We're gonna all keep them as the default steampunk skin, except for the bottom one. Those I would change to the stone variant. I just think that gives it a really nice touch of combining the two textures and basically making it look like the bottom of the pillar is like reinforced or something before going into the more fancy and intricate design of the default skin with like all the little inner workings going on there, because I do really like the combination of these. And of course the little wooden accent does really go quite nicely with the inside of the walls, the inside of the roofs, and of course once you skin the entire floor to the steampunk skin, also with your floor. But yeah, at least the bottom one I would change to the stone variant, because personally I just think that looks a little bit nicer, just also adds a little bit of that variation in there, and especially once you've skinned the entire floor, it will break up the textures a little bit as well. So yeah, that's basically what I would do on the inside, and of course then you're free to decorate with all the storage you need. But just as we did for the first part of the build, we can of course also add some more water reservoirs as pipes and chimneys alongside this part of the build. So maybe right here we'll add in a little chimney like this, and then over here we might add in some pipes along the side of the building. So for example, here in the middle we might add one. Of course, the first one you turn off snapping, then you turn on the snapping again to stack them on top of each other, and you would kind of want to vary with the heights of these for sure, and just add a few of them in some different spots like this, just to kind of simulate that nature of pipes basically going up everywhere alongside the building, which definitely adds to the steampunk feel. Of course, it does also make it a lot more expensive to build, because you'll be crafting a bunch of these to make all these pipes happen. But yeah, it is a nice way to get them to look a little bit more steampunky. I really wish we could snap pipes or water reservoirs to walls as well. If you've played the new Club ARK game, you will see a lot of these water reservoirs being used as pipes in ways that unfortunately we can't do right now in the normal game, which makes me feel really sad, because I would love to be able to create more different looking pipes with these water reservoirs, because they're quite good and perfect for that. So yeah, that's a detail that you could add, but I'll leave that up to you because it is kind of expensive. But that is the entire workshop plus storage build that should serve you very well. You've got your crazy steampunky workshop here at the front, and then the big large storage hall in the back that should give you plenty of space for all of your stuff. So that's the build tutorial. Let's go into a tour for a little bit of inspiration of how you can decorate this place yourself. So here we go. This is my original design. You can see I've painted the pipes as well to make them look a little bit more special, stand out a little bit more. And I've used ASR Architect Structures Remastered Glass to get this stained glass in here to look a little bit more special and stand out a little bit more. But other than that, it's pretty much the build that we've just done. I also have some of these plants on the roof. That's part of the JVH landscaping mod. But of course, without it, it will also still look perfectly fine. And this is really one of my favorite builds that I've done. I really like the look of it. This front, very steampunk, chaos, all these buildings attached to each other. Looks very, very cool in my mind. And then, of course, the large storage hall will serve you very well for all of your storage purposes. And as you can see, if you have the landscape with you, the entrance can look a little bit more impressive than it did in the tutorial, but that's just really dependent on the way the landscape works out. Then on the inside, we have this entrance hall, which is part of the workshop. You can see it's big enough for the industrial forge. I'm guessing also the steam forge would easily fit inside as well. And you have a bunch of other space here on the other side to use too. And then of course this is the main storage hall, where you have a bunch of space to stack up against these walls. What you can of course do is make a little layer of ceilings so that you can stack things on top of each other. Now I personally use visual storage, as you can see right here, but you can also of course exchange these for vaults if you're playing vanilla, or even the text structures to have your storage along the walls like this, or even just the normal storage cabinets. You can line up a bunch of them alongside these walls. And then you can see here that I've done some crazy stuff with the pillars to kind of symbolize pipes going across this hall, which is one of the ways you can add some more steampunky details if you would want to. But yeah, as you can see, just using a row of ceilings, some small thin pillars, and then stacking up your vaults or your dedicated storages, your cabinets, or if you also have mods like me, the visual storage just really adds a lot to it. And then for me, this is where I drop off the stuff that I have to then put into the system basically, and it gets like distributed everywhere. That's the visual storage part, but of course normal storage would work just as well. And then you can see we've got plenty of room. We've got a little meeting room here at the end, because yeah, there's so much space in this hall alone that you can definitely get a bunch of storage in here. And then if you did leave enough space underneath, you could even make a little basement to have even more space. I didn't really do anything special. I only made a very tiny basement for some more of the visual storage stuff. But yeah, if you have a higher ceiling floor, then you can hide even more underneath. And then the workshop part, of course, we have this main hall that we start with. We have the staircase going up, and then we get to a little kitchen area here to the side with some of the crafting stations, the linked storage here, the clock to boost the crafting, and then the main crafting hall right here with a bunch of structures that you can see still fit easily inside. There's definitely more room here in the middle as well for maybe a tech replicator, something like that. And then we have this nice little balcony looking out over our storage area. I think this would definitely be really cool to use with a tribe or something, because yeah, you could see each other working and running around and everything. And then of course there's plenty of room here to add another floor if you wanted to, as well as you could extend this floor all the way through if you needed more space. And then of course we also have this room to the side, which is my little bedroom right here, that you could also definitely just use just as well. So yeah, definitely a bunch of space in this build, and hopefully you're gonna enjoy this if you've decided to build this yourself. And hopefully this also gives you a little bit of inspiration on what to do with the inside of the build. But yeah, that being said, I do think that is going to be it for this tutorial. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I hope to see you back in the next video. Goodbye.